Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for another live Q&A community chat here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you tips and tricks and techniques, things that I do every day in my own voiceover business. And then we get together in these weekly community chats to talk about a topic or 5. We'll see how it goes. But if you're not new here, then you know that every week we have a new poll. And that poll is usually the topic of the day. So today's topic is, how did you discover audiobook production as a potential career for yourself? I could tell you that for me, with as many audiobooks as I listen to, I mean, like on tape, you know, back in the day on road trips and things, never once crossed my mind that I could do the same, right? Completely out of reach. And then let's see, it was about 7 years ago, perhaps, at this point, where I was eating lunch on a break and, you know, scrolling through MSN, just looking at, you know, news stories and things. And I came across an interview with an audiobook narrator. And it was Carrie Olson, for those of you who know who Carrie Olson is. And it was just like a light bulb moment. I went, why did I never think of this before? With, you know, me being a voracious reader, you know, I've always been a crazy reader, lover of books. And I thought, wow, if I could read books and then produce them into audiobooks, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of learning curve, right? There's going to be a technical side that I know nothing about, but hey, I can learn it, right? I got faith in myself. I'll figure it out. And Voiceover Angela Productions was born. And then it was from audiobook narration that I discovered the whole other side of voice acting, doing recording voiceovers for, you know, a bajillion different applications. And then I thought, oh my God, this could be a full-time thing. And 4.5 years later, here we are, full-time. So I want to know how you guys discovered audiobook production as a career. And of course, I'm only limited to 4 responses for the poll. So if one of these doesn't fit, although the last one was something else, please share, then please share with us how you discovered audiobook production. So it looks like 32 votes so far. 19% of you said a social media post, which I think is going to be very common, more and more so, you know, as we're all over social media now. 31% of you said while listening to an audiobook. I wish I could say the same, but I can't. It never crossed my mind. 6% of you said I know someone who is one. I'm hearing that a lot more. And then 44% of you said something else, please share. So let's see what you guys are sharing. Let's go over to the comments and see if we can not only discover how you discovered audiobook production as a career, but also we're going to talk about what you should do if you're thinking about becoming an audiobook narrator, producer. What equipment you're going to need, what resources would be helpful for you to know about, and also maybe some other do's and don'ts We'll see if we can kind of cover the gamut as we go here today. But let's go over to the comments really quick and see what we got cooking. Who's first in? Caesar. Hi, Caesar. Caesar says, "Oh, hi, Angela. While attending university, I was always told I have a nice voice." Yes, I'm deliberately understating it. And as such, was invited to perform a radio commercial. I was also given contacts for someone who hires character voices for television. I didn't think much of these things then, as my interests leaned more towards cinematography and visual effects. Years later, I quit working with my business partner and his wife for mental health reasons. They're I don't have my glasses on. Insalubrious dill holes, and was shoved straight back to square one without a plan. So I needed one. I still had enough contacts to pursue web development as a day job, but it wasn't something I wanted to do forever. So I thought of using my voice to start a career since it's an asset I already own. Initially, I assumed it would be a low investment start. I have the voice, I need a mic, I can start cheap. Ha! A year later, after fixing a whole mess of recording challenges and learning so much, I am now a sound engineer. Dang it, I went off course again. But that's fine. I still want to do more voice acting and narrating and have already completed one book. Sorry, long story. It's okay. I asked for it. That said, hello, Angela. Hello, everyone. It's my birthday. Well, happy birthday to you, Caesar. And the Mermaid book author wants me to do the rest of the series. I'm not surprised. Congratulations. I couldn't have asked for a better gift. Except maybe another microphone. You don't need another microphone. I think it's the last thing you need. To piggyback off of what Caesar was saying about equipment, I can tell you for me, I'm one of those people that just jumps right in and then sort of do the research as I go. So instead of researching first and then jumping, I did both. I sort of jumped and then thought I would, learn how to land the airplane while I was flying. Excuse me. So, what did I have? My partner had a Blue Yeti microphone, and then he eventually bought me a brand new one to use, not knowing anything about anything. And I do say that using a USB mic is not a bad idea if you're just testing the waters. If you're sort of just dipping your toes in to see if this is something you'll enjoy doing, a USB mic is not like a make or break thing. I did just fine with a USB mic for a few months, and then I got the bug to upgrade, and then I upgraded. But starting with a USB mic is not a bad thing. I know there's going to be some people that tell you to not do that. I did it. I turned out just fine. But especially if you're just kind of testing things out. And if you want to test things out, I've always recommended going to LibriVox.org. I think I have a banner for that. This is how it is spelled, LibriVox.org. And this is where you can volunteer your time to narrate books in the public domain. Either a book in its entirety or a section or chapter of a book. And these are books in the public domain, so they're copyright free. But through this process of donating your time, you will learn so much about the technical aspect, about your voice, how long you can narrate, right? Like your stamina, because it is more physical than you think. Long periods of time sitting, narrating out loud, you learn a lot about how far you can push yourself, how much breath you can kind of hold as you're narrating. Not to mention the technical side. I think that was the hardest part for me, was learning my DAW. And for those of you that don't know what a DAW is, it's a digital audio workstation. In essence, your recording software. There's Adobe Audition, there's Reaper, there's Studio One, there's a handful of them. Audacity is free to use and download, which I started with. I started with Audacity. And, but learning that aspect, I think, was the most frustrating and took the longest because, everything is so foreign. It's in a completely different language. But it gave me the time without the pressure of money or, time frame, like a set time frame, to learn how to do it and to prove to myself that I could do it. I could figure it out. Then I went on to other things when I went to ACX, where I could feel better about accepting payment for my work, right? Because I didn't in the beginning, and I'm sure a lot of you feel the same. But LibriVox was a great way to start because it taught me a lot in just the hands-on aspect of doing it. So that is why I definitely recommend that. Another place to go if you're a brand new narrator or just starting to think about getting into audiobook narration is, let me take this off the screen, is to go to, this is the Narrator's Roadmap, narratorsroadmap.com. I actually have it here. Let me show this to you guys really quick. So this is the narratorsroadmap.com. Let me just take that off the screen. And this is a great place to start. There's a lot of resources on here that articles, there's assessment quizzes, how to become a narrator. Almost anything that you're looking for an answer about would be found here. All kinds of great stuff. Sean Pratt is on here, if those of you know who Sean Pratt is. Everything about where you can list your services at. ACX, of course, Find a Way, Authors Republic. Best places to go for social media. There's a lot of great helpful videos on here. So the narratorsroadmap.com is a great place to get started if you're just looking to get into this. If you're looking for practice copy, meaning you have, you need to make samples, right? And you don't have a profile set up on any of these places yet or have yet to audition, you can go to Gutenberg.org. I'll put it on the screen there, Gutenberg.org. This is where you can find all the books in the public domain, meaning out of copyright. So you can use those to practice if you don't feel good about using something on your shelf. ACX is a arm of Amazon. This is where the authors and narrators come together to create audiobooks for Audible. This is ACX. This is what ACX is. ACX has their own university also on YouTube. Just side note, if you want to know more information about the technical aspects and some tips about auditioning and things. But if you need samples for ACX and you don't feel good about using the books on your shelf, which ACX does say that you can do, you can use books on your shelf, but if you still don't want to do that, if you go to Gutenberg.org, you'll find a lot of books in the public domain there that you can use for your samples. That was the point that I was getting at. I almost got derailed there. But as far as, I also wanted to touch on, go back to equipment. In addition to your USB mic, your software, whichever one you choose, your DAW, you're also going to need some headphones. You're going to need a decent set of headphones so you can listen back to the playback. You don't want to use your computer speakers because there's going to be too much going on in the ambient, room around you for you to be able to focus on the sound of your audio file. And that is a big factor for one of the major standards in ACX for file formatting is your noise floor. So a good set of headphones, you want everything to be wired, nothing wireless. You want a nice clean connection from your computer to all of your devices. You want everything wired. I know wireless is easy, but you want it wired. What's the other thing? Oh, and your recording space, of course. You want to have a dedicated recording space that preferably isn't going to change from day to day to day, because you're going to need to take some time to set it up properly. Meaning all of the walls around you, the ceiling, the floor underneath you, your desktop in front of you, all of those things are smooth, hard surfaces that create echo. Because again, your voice is a vibration. As you speak, it's going to bounce around all of these hard surfaces, causing reverb or echo. So you want to have a dedicated recording space that you don't have to set up, take down, preferably, so the sound doesn't change. Treat the walls, treat the floor, treat the ceiling, and don't forget everything around you, right? Everything behind you, to the side of you, to the front of you. Make sure that your room is treated properly. I think that is the most important part. That is the most important aspect if you're looking to become an audiobook narrator or a voice actor for that case. Your recording space is more important than anything else you choose. And as far as the computer goes, in the beginning, you don't really need something super powerful. What you do need is processing power. So it's going to need a decent amount of RAM to start. You could probably get away with 8 gigs of RAM, but I would say 16 and up to get started would be preferable. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting around waiting for things to process. And books are large. There's a lot of large files in these. So having some computing power is really the only thing that you need to be aware of. Apart from that, maybe if it makes noise. If your computer is noisy, if you have a noisy fan, there's something within it, SD cards or something. I'm forgetting the term. Like the disk drives, if they're in there making noise, you want to move that as far away from the computer as possible if you can. Get longer cords from Amazon to move that computer far away. It's what I did. Everything has an extra long cable. And don't use connections, right, from, to lengthen, like extensions. Don't use those. Just buy yourself an extra long cable so it's one clean connection from the computer to the microphone or whatever it is that you're connecting. I feel like I'm really going off on a tangent. But I wanted to make sure that I got all of that out. If I forgot anything, for those of you audiobook narrators in there, if I forgot anything, please let me know. The point of this chat today is to give new audiobook narrators a great place to start from, with information that is tried and true, like things that we have learned along the way. So if there's something that you want to share, then please put it in the comments. Okay. You guys are like, all right, Angela, stop your yammering. But happy birthday, Caesar. Paul is here. Hey, Paul. And some big changes globally. I was forced to find other sources of work due to the collapse of my employer. And as I had a good idea of the process of VO recording, I decided to go back. Did I miss a comment from you? Decided to go back to my sound engineering roots and seek work as a narrator. It's slow, but work is coming in. I'm having a great time. And that's all that really matters. That's all that really matters. That you're having a great time and that it's providing the income, if you need it, that you need. Paul says, hi, Caesar, and happy birthday. Absolutely. Happy birthday, Caesar. Hi, Paul. I hope it's an amazing day for you. Masonry Construction says, for me, voiceover work is a carryover from my interest in storytelling and public speaking. Finding your channel and this group was a fabulous coincidence. Thanks all. Well, we're glad to have you. You are definitely an asset here in the comment section. So thank you so much for participating. And for all of you that participate and share your perspectives and points of view and tips. Because, I'm not the only one with information. Everybody else has great information and experience that they've, discovered along the way as well. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Good morning. Good morning to you. Dylan says, I've always wanted to do voices professionally, but as much as I hate to say it, I didn't have any idea how to start until I saw make a $400 an hour with just your iPhone and laptop ad. Yes, we all love those social media posts, don't we? Yeah. But it led you here, and it led you to, I believe, to be your calling. You're very good at it, Dylan. You're very good at it. So it's not a bad path. I just, those social media posts that say that aren't exactly true, but it still led you down this path. Dylan says, 1 year and 14 books later, I still hate those people, but I'm glad I saw it. Exactly. Caesar says, thank you, Rustic Hillbilly. Dylan says, happy birthday, Caesar. Congrats on the series. Yes. Caesar says, Dylan, have you ever had the pleasure of watching my more accurate TikTok video on that subject? It's in the hot takes. Past the pineapple burger poll. Yeah, that was pretty funny. And great job on making that video, Caesar. Dylan says, no, I'll have to check that out. Tess says, happy birthday, Caesar. I'm glad you're doing VO with that voice. Yes, we need some of that voice in the world. Pamela says, happy birthday, Caesar. Hello, everyone. Caesar says, thank you, Tess. Funny how I'm like, who would have thunk it? And everyone's like, we're not surprised. But I'm glad I can make a career of it. I still want to branch out to writing and music eventually. I think you will. Why not? Mark Samuels is here. Good morning. Hello, Angela. Good morning, you and to all the interested people in audiobooks. Thank you for another great video. Please like. Yes, please. Just click that like button. Appreciate you. Dylan says, hi, Pam. Caesar says, hi, Pam. Hope all is well. Christine says, salutations. Salutations to you, Christine. Spoolstead says, I discovered it as a possibility by two things. One, listening to audiobooks, and two, being told by a professor that after I turned in a project hang on. Being told by a professor after I turned in a project. That makes sense. On that note, I have been told many times that I sounded like my voice, I should be like one of those, how do I say this? Like adult phone operators, if you catch my drift. And that's what I've been told a lot, but never about audiobooks before I discovered that I wanted to do audiobooks. Pamela says, hi, Dylan. Sean Luster says, how did I learn about audiobooks? I Googled how to audition. Just for kicks, I auditioned for a bunch of books, and it worked. And that works too. Just checking out the poll. So we got 55 votes now. 24% of you said social media post. I'm surprised that number isn't larger. 35% of you said, well, listening to an audiobook. 4% of you said, I know someone who is one. And 38% said something else. Please share. Cool. So a lot of different ways to discover this. I'm interested. Tim says, I guess I just knew they existed, knew someone had to record them, but wasn't aware that it was this potentially accessible until I got associated with the group at Edge Studio. Nick Go UT says, many years ago, my mom's partner was legally blind, but did have some sight. He worked at the MN. I don't see if there was a continuation there, but Eric says, hey, Eric, how you doing? I've wanted to do this my whole life, and my family always said I should. A couple years ago, we saw an ad on Facebook for a one-night how to get into VO class from Such a Voice. Interesting. Pamela says, I got stories, kiddies, but I'm on myself. I'm sure you've got stories. Bob says, good morning from Ohio. I don't think audiobooks is for me. At 70, I can't remember ever reading a book cover to cover, books on tape. That goes way back. I can remember books on vinyl. My gosh. Yeah, now that you say that, I have had, they were kids' books, but I remember them being like full color vinyl. I remember that. Yep, I had those too then. My cup of tea says, morning all. I discovered audiobook narration via college while acting. My castmates and directors encouraged me to use my voice not only for signing, but also for narration. It is really encouraging. Singing, perhaps? Florida D says, hi, y'all. I heard R.C. Bray narrate and said, I want to do that. Donnie says, hey, Donnie. I have always been a closet geek. Then I heard the first game that had a fully voiced main character, male and female, and it was Mass Effect. Ever since that day, I have dreamt of being a voice actor. That's so cool. Ray Hines says listening to audiobooks mainly, then social media. Nico UT says, many years ago, my mom's partner was legally blind. Oh, here's the continuation. Okay, but did have some sight. He worked at the MN Society for the Blind. He created audiobooks there and did the narration. Fascinated. That is so cool. Christine says, wondering about it while listening to audiobooks on car drives. Found articles on it through social media outlets. Donnie says, and happy birthday, Caesar. Me and Dylan will do Marilyn Monroe happy birthday song for you. Caesar says, thanks, Bear. So glad Dylan could fit into the dress for this momentous occasion. Is it Wendy's birthday too? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We got to get into Discord. We need some birthday shout outs. Dylan says, I don't often break out of my good dresses, but this is a special occasion, Caesar. With equipment, use what you have at first and then take advantage of everything that's free. And that's kind of how I looked at it too, because when you're first starting something out and you have the drive and you have, the will to do it, the why is strong, you want to do something, but you're not quite sure if it is something that is going to be sustainable or if it's going to turn out the way that you hope. I mean, that's just a normal human thought process, right? So starting with what you have is not necessarily, a bad way to go. Start with what you have. If you have a USB mic, because maybe you're a YouTuber or a podcaster or something, and you have something already on hand, use that. Don't change anything. Just use what you have. Use the laptop that you have. Use the headphones that you have. I mean, again, I did. I had what we had laying around, and I did just fine. And then I started to upgrade and replace as I went, which is also very normal. But, make sure that it's something that you will enjoy doing. Because I think one thing that is often overlooked is how much work audiobooks really are. They are a lot of work. There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of training involved. Not just the technical side, which I think was the hardest part for me, but there's also the training of, your craft, your performance, allowing yourself to be you. I think most of the people that I've worked with still get into the habit of, as soon as they hit that record button in their audio software, they become the narrator. They become the voice actor. And their whole persona just changes. It's almost like they become the announcer voice. Because that is, in the beginning, our perception of what voice acting is. What I'm doing right now, talking to you, this is what a voice actor does. I am me. I am just using my voice to convey emotion, elicit a response, a call to action, something. You don't have to be anything other than yourself. Just be you. Unless, of course, you're becoming a different character or characters. But 95% of the time, you're just you. Just be you. Don't try to be anything other than you. You don't have to be the voice actor and put on the voice actor voice. Just be you. That's the best thing you can do. But sometimes that's the hardest thing to overcome. And if you're not told that you're doing that, you may never know. Again, another reason to join groups, masterminds, Facebook groups. That way you can be in a group of people who are willing to support you and help you along your journey and to tell you these things. The things that you may be accustomed to, where there's maybe echo in your room and you're just used to hearing it and you don't see it as a problem. Or maybe you're not putting enough emotion into what you're reading. Not being you enough. And sometimes those bad habits God, excuse me. And sometimes those bad habits are hard to overcome. But working with people, working with other voice actors can definitely help you to recognize those bad habits and move past them. And they'll show you some ways to, maybe ways to trick your brain, to get you to not do these things. I don't know why my voice is so raspy today. Pamela says off topic, but it's Wendy's birthday too. Oh, we just read that one. Well, I definitely have to say happy birthday to her. John says my last tour in uniform was at the Pentagon, and while they're just for fun, I used to narrate and MC. Everyone that heard me said I should make it a career, so here I am. Good. It's funny all the different places that this inspiration comes from. Dylan says can be prohibitive to just testing the waters. Oh, costs can be prohibitive to just testing the waters. Yes. Steady P says, feel great to say I did my first 2 auditions yesterday. Good for you. And I had a question this morning about, not you, Steady, but I had a question this morning about, I just submitted an audition. Should I sit and wait for a response from the author, or should I keep going? Never sit and wait and hold your breath for an author to respond, because they may not. They are not obligated. I mean, yeah, they're not obligated to respond to you. They're not obligated to give you feedback. They're not obligated to do these things. You submitted an audition. If you're the voice that fits their project, then they will reach out to you and let you know and offer you the job. But they're not obligated to sit and give 200 people feedback on their auditions, or hey, I got it, just wait for a minute, I'm doing this, and I'm to constantly update you on their process. They're not obligated to do that. Some do, and it's awesome when they do, but not everybody has that time. Not everybody has the time to do that. And I think we also forget that we audition, but so did potentially 300 other people. A lot of people probably auditioned for this spot. So never sit and wait for feedback or a response. Just keep auditioning. But Angela, what happens if I get more than one job from all the auditions I do? That's great. Schedule them back to back. Figure out how you can do them simultaneously, how you can produce them at the same time, depending on their length, right? Don't worry about that part. Just keep auditioning. Just keep auditioning. Don't sit and wait. Never sit and wait. We got a super chat. Hold on. Sean Lester. Thank you, sir. Sean says, what character trait would you say makes audiobook narration a passion? What traits predict success? That is a loaded question because it's hard to say what does and what doesn't because everybody's so different. With all of the people that I've met throughout the course of my journey, there are so many different backgrounds and so many different personalities and character traits that, it's hard to say what does and what doesn't. There are no real predictors of success. I think other than the drive that you need to learn, to grow, to practice, and to keep at it. I think that may be the one consistent thing. And that comes from your why. Is your why strong enough? The desire to want to do this, the reason that you want to do this, is that strong enough to keep you moving forward, to keep learning and growing in this business? Because there will be obstacles. It's a business. There's always obstacles and challenges. But you can get around them, get over them, get under them, get over them, as they come, if your drive is strong enough. I think also having the ability to be coachable is definitely a good thing. Taking criticism is also a good thing. It's hard to do, but if you can take feedback from people, it's definitely a good thing. Being a lover of literature is also going to be a definite plus. and allowing yourself to just be you. That is definitely one thing that I think it's a good trait, but not everybody has that. Sometimes it has to be learned. But definitely I think the drive is a major factor for sure. But it's going to be different for everybody. But great question. If you watching have some feedback on that question, if you think you have the answer to that question as to what character trait is a great predictor of success, then please share. Please share. Finding where I left off. Oh, here we go. Tess says, nice. Happy birthday, Wendy. Couple of great people. Yes. Donnie says, space is most important, followed by mic, and then rum, and then pants. Okay, Donnie. But yes, your space is more important than the microphone you choose. Caesar says, if you have enough rum, you wouldn't even need the pants. Boys, behave yourselves. Kristen says, happy birthday. Peak Parable says, I have only been on ACX with one book complete and one book series of 6 books in total. Wow, that's a good start. Caesar says, thanks, Kristen. Christine says, happy birthday, Caesar. Peak Parable says, all focused on royalty share or royalty share plus. Is there a way to set this same process up on Fiverr, or is a platform like that only pay per hour? Yes, there is no way to share royalties on any other platform other than ACX. For ACX. Unless you're doing some other completely different audiobook distribution, platform that they have it set up, but you can't on Fiverr, namely and Upwork, you cannot share royalties there. It's only pay for production on those. There's no way to share royalties. And if someone tells you otherwise, I would say no thank you, because it's not true. Don't ever count on someone to send you the royalties, right? If, like, the rights holder, like, oh yeah, I'll send you this much. No. No. You can't split royalties on those platforms. Caesar says, thanks, Christine. Getty says, I guess the audiobook genre found me. I mean, that happens too. Steve says, I wanted to be a Foley artist when I was at college for recording engineering. I have my own home studio that's being underutilized and would like to try voiceovers. I think you should. And I've always wanted to learn Foley. That's so interesting. Steady P says, I've been using your YouTube as my guide. Oh, good. Good. I'm glad that it helps. Masonry Construction says, the disgusting side of the $400 per hour thing is how the promoter left off the part about the voice and talent aspects. And this, it's a business. It is not magic. Work is involved. Yes, beware of those social media posts that tell you, do you speak English? Do you want to make $400 an hour in your pajamas with just your iPhone? You can record audiobooks. That's not true. It's not true. Same thing, I see those also for other voiceover platforms like voices.com, Voice123, mainly voices.com and ACX. It takes work, it takes training, it takes practice. It's more than just clicking onto a website and making $1,000 by just recording something. Not only that, but the competition on some of those places is not good for beginners. It's not good for beginners at all. You kind of have to start just like everybody else does, at the bottom, at the beginning, and learn and grow and train and coach and all of those things. There's no magic easy button with anything, and I think we all know that by now. There's no magic easy button. Gregory says, hi, my fellow Angelinas from the Sound Closet in far north Dallas, and happy birthday, Caesar, and happy birthday, Wendy. Caesar says, whoop, getting click happy. Funny you mentioned adult phone operators, Angela. Many of my phone calls with people would end in adult phone activities. It's inexplicable. Caesar says, thanks, Gregory. Hope all is well. Jamie's here. Hey, Jamie. Hello, all. My origin story is when someone told me I'd be great as a funeral parlor receptionist because I apparently sound dead. Well, challenge accepted. That's kind of an odd thing to say to someone. Happy birthday, Caesar. Where's the cake? Jade Crit says, hello, Angela, and hello, everyone in this community. I'm here for the encouragement. Well, you're in the right place, my friend. We can do that. I've been told I have a great voice for VO work. I bought mics. Interfaces and the software to record and edit have not jumped. Why not? What's stopping you? Is it the fear of failure? Is it the fear of success? Fear? Imposter syndrome? Just fear, fear, fear? In all of its forms? Put the blinders on, block out the voices, and just do it. Getting past that first audition, that first thing, that first audition will make you feel so much better. Just do it. Just do it. Jump. Gregory says, for those who don't know, I actually caught one of your videos after getting hit by one of those other ads while in the hospital, 18 months later, working on my first audiobook. That's crazy. Donnie says, I was told I have a great face for radio. Oh, and a voice for radio is all. BC English says, how long should a 30,000 book take to narrate and produce? That is going to depend on you, the producer. If you think about it this way, a 30,000 word book is going to be, if you divide 30,000 by 9,300, roughly, that is a finished hour. So that's a little over 3 hours finished. And for every finished hour, it's going to take you about 2 hours. This is for my newer narrators. For every finished hour, it should take you roughly 2 hours to narrate it, and then another 3 to 5 hours to edit it. And then, you know, you do get faster the more you do it, but usually in the beginning, that's what it takes. So a finished hour could potentially take you 7 hours in the beginning. So 7 times 3, just for even numbers, 21 hours. So if you figure, let's just say 25 hours. So it'll take you 25 hours to make this book, to narrate, edit, master, format this book. How long do you think that would take you, given your schedule? And that's how I would look at it. But usually books about that length, I want to give myself 30 days if you can. I mean, it won't take you that long, but maybe 3 weeks. Only because you want to be able to take breaks to rest this, because as you will quickly see, it's narrating for long periods of time. You can do damage to your voice and to your throat, right? So you want to be able to take some breaks. I mean, even if you ask the rights holder for 4 weeks and you delivered it in 2, then you're a hero. You delivered it early, right? But at least at that point, you have the time to take breaks. If, your spouse or your kiddo gets sick, you can take a couple days off for that, so on and so forth. But take the time you need. Ask the rights holder what is their expectation of receiving this production? Do they need it by a specific date? If they are wide open, just take as long as you want, then take the time you need and then deliver it early and be the hero. But it's more important to take breaks for your throat. Rest, recoup, hydrate, all the things. Steve says, and I want to be the voice of a cartoon villain. I think we all do. I think we would all like that. Monty Dean says, hi all, I've been listening in for a while. Well, welcome. Welcome to the show. Kristen Downey says, happy birthday, Wendy, too. Absolutely. Christine says, happy birthday, Wendy. Monty says, hi all, I've been listening for a few months now. I have the opportunity to read in front of friends frequently, and many have told me I love to listen to you read. Do it. Dylan says to J. Crit, perfect. Today is actually the best day to get started. If you can't do it today, tomorrow is the next best. You've got the tools, now put them to use. You've got this. Perfectly stated, Dylan. Jim says, while investigating voiceover, I ran across audiobook production as an avenue for income. Okay, so you actually came about it the opposite way that I did, because I went through audiobook production and then voiceover was another potential avenue for income. Interesting. J. Crit says to Dylan, thank you for that. Like most who are thinking about starting, I'm just overthinking it. And we all do. I think we all have. It's a normal reaction to anything that's scary, intimidating. It's that imposter monster on your shoulder telling you that you shouldn't, you can't, you couldn't. Who are you? Flick him off your shoulder and just do it. Never let fear decide your fate. Spoolstead says, I also would add that I researched work from home jobs so I could be home for my special needs son. That is a great why. That is a great reason to do this too. And that was, God, that was so close to mine too. I wanted to be home for my son. That was pretty close to my why. Caesar says to Jade Crit, mics and interfaces plural? That's Caesar's avenue there. Mics and interfaces. What in the world did you buy? If you're not finding the sound you want, I reckon it could be something else in your room. Or it could just be imposter syndrome. Donnie says, getting constructive criticism and positive reinforcement is 100% necessary. I 1000% agree. Noisiest water bottle on the planet. You will never get better if you don't know what or where you can and should improve. It will only help. Agreed. Jim says, when I looked at ACX to put in my filters and it came up with one book, which turns out to be a PDF, printing out the sample, I was stopped by ACX because I needed the rights holder's password. That sounds like a rights holder issue. It sounds like they didn't know how to upload an appropriate audition. And if you're only coming up with one book after putting in your filters, then stop putting in so many filters. Bare minimum filters. Bare minimum filters. Because even if you're putting in filters for like pay type, there are undisclosed or undecided as well. So if you're putting in filters for everything, then you might be missing out on the undecided, right? That could potentially be ideal for you. So use those filters on ACX sparingly. And it sounds like the rights holder password thing is just, I think that's just operator error on the rights holder's part. You could send them a message and say, hey, did you know that your audition script is password protected? That way they know and they can hopefully fix it. Ray Hines says, what's your best technique for marking and correcting miscues instead of breaking and starting your whole session over? You should never have to do that. You should never have to start all the way over for a mistake or two. I usually whistle or clap loudly, pause for 8 to 10 seconds, and begin again. You don't even need to pause for that long either. You can either learn punch and roll, which is where you're recording, you make a mistake, you stop, you go back to where you made the mistake, and then start recording over again. Or you could do what I do. I just use a clicker. It's a dog training clicker. And I click and mark the mistake. I mean, these are a couple bucks at your local pet store. And it makes a clear mark on the waveform of where I've made a mistake. And then usually I'll give it even a couple of takes. Like I'll re-record the sentence again that had the mistake in it, just so it's nice and clean. And then when I go back and edit, I can see where I made the mistake. So I just go to those sections, listen to the takes that I did, choose the best one, and go on to the next one. That's what I do anyway. But never think that your whole recording is just trash. If you feel like it's normal for us to warm up in about 2 minutes once you start to kind of find your narration groove. So if you start narrating something the first thing of the day, and you get about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes in, and then you feel like you found your groove, then mark it somehow, and then start recording over. And then that first part will sound so much more, so much better. You could do that too, but never like junk the whole file just for a couple of mistakes. Caesar says, I find that a touch of narcissism helps. Love your own voice and look forward to each read and savor how the words transform into a rapturous melody of delectable prose. Jim says, determination makes it a passion for me. I know I have a voice. You and Bill DeWeese say it can be done, so I am doing it. Yes, and there's a lot of other people other than myself and Bill DeWeese that say it can be done. It just takes determination. It takes investment, not only in, money, but time. You have to be fully invested to make this work. Anything, really, anything new, any new endeavor. Caesar says, dang it, I thought that was a direct message. Now everyone can see I'm recommending narcissism as a VO trait. J Crit says to Caesar, yes, LOL. I had a couple for a podcast I was doing for fun, but we're kind of cheap. So when I started down the road to VO, I bought a better interface and mic to start. And it's good to have backups. It's not a bad idea to have a backup mic and a backup interface because you never know when things just go pfft. That way you have something to back up or something to use as a backup. Joy says, hello, everyone, from sunny, dry Southfield, Michigan. A few folks are saying they want some rain, but not me. I'm loving the weather. Yeah, it's actually like 79 degrees here in the desert. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time talking today. 79 degrees here in the desert, and it's amazing. I'll take it. Pandora's Crate says, I've been thinking seriously about doing narration. I narrate a short story I wrote, and my mom said I was really good. I have mic and Audition CS6. Think I can get away with that older version. You might be able to. I've heard a lot of people say that. And really, you need more feedback than just from your mom. I know your mom loves you. Usually your friends and family are going to be a little bit biased, but you need to have feedback from a peer group too. You could probably get away with that older version. I don't know how far it'll take you. But again, start with what you have and see if it's something that you enjoy doing. And then, get the most current versions of things. Jim says, had a birthday last week, 73 laps around the sun. Well, happy belated birthday. A lot of birthdays recently. Caesar says to J Crit, we have a similar journey. I did start with junk gear, got professional gear after a few frustrating months with the cheap gear. Donnie says, like, share, and subscribe. Show Angela some love. Thank you, Donnie. Caesar says, Foley is a lot of fun. I've done both audio sampling and track layering, and it's tremendous fun. It sounds like it would be. I always wanted to do that. I intend to use this ability when I decide to produce immersive audiobooks in the future. I really think you should, Caesar. Jim says, happy birthday, Caesar. Caesar says, thanks, Jamie. And the cake, well, I ate it. Sorry. I would too. TT Witt says, listening to audiobooks, then decided to do some research on YouTube and found you. Oh, yay. Figured I read anyway, might as well give it a shot. Literally just starting. Well, welcome to the family. Welcome to the VO audiobook family. Caesar says, thanks, Jim. I'm looking forward to seeing more of you on Discord. Joy says, oh my God, happy birthday, Caesar. And Wendy. Caesar says, thanks, Joy. How are you liking your new mic? Have you figured out your noise floor yet? And happy birthday, Wendy. Good. Jim says, Caesar, I'll make Discord here and there. My 23-year-old calico daughter is quite jealous about my lap. BC English says, thanks, Angela. Besides, some nonfiction topics can be boring or tasking. Some of them can. I find most of them... Goodness gracious. Sorry, guys. I find most of them... need to go steam or something. I find most of nonfiction to be really educational. Maybe I'm just really boring and nerdy, but I really find this stuff informational. I really enjoy learning things from when I'm narrating. Maybe that's just me. Caesar says to Jim, I have a ginger who's the exact same. Masonry Construction says, my freelance work is primarily writing. I mention this so that newbies considering VO work who are also writers should find a way to record and post your own stuff. Yes, definitely publish and post your own stuff on social media. Podcast, YouTube, your website. Definitely get out there and get heard. Gregory says, fear, false evidence appearing real. Jump in, folks. Masonry Construction says the problem with imposter syndrome is that it can very easily lead to the dreaded no imposter syndrome. Doing nothing, just worrying, just do it. Bears or Donnie says, with my filters, I have 1,200 choices on ACX. Wow. I'm baffled why Jim only has one. J Crit says, thanks for the encouragement, everyone, Angela. Everyone. Angela, thank you for sharing your knowledge and care. I'm going into the closet. Updates to follow. Good. Good. We're all behind you, J Crit. You got this. We're all behind you. Caesar says to J Crit, good luck. Try not to get locked in. Bring a bucket just in case. Jim says, if I am making too many mistakes in a take, I will re-record more slowly. My biggest mistake is reading too fast. That is definitely something I think that we all that's something that we all are faced with at some point, is just reading too fast. Because if you're a book nerd, much like myself, and read a lot of books, you read probably pretty fast. So therefore, you narrate probably pretty fast. You're going to have to slow down and find a comfortable pace to narrate, which is about 25 to 50% slower than your eye moves when you read. So, right, you have to make yourself sort of slow down, but finding that comfortable medium might also take some practice. To find that narration pace, that it doesn't sound like you're reading every word, then you end up sounding like a robot, or too slow. You have to get to that comfortable medium where you're about 50% slower than your eyes are moving when you read. So that way the listener can follow along with what you're saying. It takes practice. Peak Parable says, at what point is it worth approaching traditional audiobook companies like Tantor to join the potential roster? I want to expand beyond ACX, but not too fast, so that way I give myself a bad reputation. I would definitely get a lot of practice in first before you start approaching publishing companies. Not only that, but the publishing companies are going to want to see that you have some titles under your belt that are notable, that have done well, so on and so forth, and that is going to take time. Publishing companies don't open up their rosters to just everyone and anyone. You have to apply. And to do that, they're going to want to see that you've got some titles, some major titles under your belt. And I don't mean like, I'm not talking about like Game of Thrones, like major. I'm talking about like you've got a handful that have done well that are notable, right? That's going to take some time. Donnie says, everyone look into joining the Platinum group. It is a game changer. Thank you for that, Donnie. I enjoy the Platinum group quite a bit. You guys are amazing. Caesar says you could get away with using CSX or CS6, but upgrade sooner rather than later. The move from 32-bit to 64-bit will already be a tremendous performance uplift, and most new plugins require the latest version. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, the compatibility factor. Yeah. You might want to consider moving up to Adobe Audition if that's the thing. Angel says, hello, I'm late. Brought 24 Krispy Kreme donuts. I like the glaze. I like the original glaze. I love books and have a theater background. It just feels right for me. Well, there you go. Perfect. Florida D says, I'll read just about anything if there's a check in it. Only filter I have is mail. Good. Minimal on the filters. Caesar says, and believe me when I say you need plugins. While many of Audition's stock functions are very useful, you will at least want Isotope RX and a good expander, compressor, and limiter in your arsenal. Jim Williams says, Masonry. I have a client in Upwork who has just expressed interest in my writing coming from my online portfolio. It's awesome. Yeah, use all of your skills. Don't just limit yourself online as a freelancer to just voiceover and audiobooks. If you have other skills that can be shared digitally online, do it. Do it. It's multiple streams of income. Dylan says, I did accidentally leave you out of my audiobook journey, Angela. Your videos and these lives are what gave me the knowledge and confidence to take the leap. You've helped so many people find purpose. Oh, no. It's okay. I didn't even... I'm just a person. I'm just a person who's a face on your screen, telling you to do it, giving you the encouragement. That's all. I don't take credit. I don't. But thanks, Dylan. Kristen says Caesar is an expert. Yes, he is. He totally is. Joy says to Caesar, the noise floor has been quite a challenge. I'm going to send a sample to let you hear if the adjustments I made are good. Masonry Construction says, Coach Dugan, Tom Hanks, famously said, there's no crying in baseball. Coach Angela would agree. No crying unless it's in the script. Just do it. Absolutely. I like that. No crying unless it's in the script. Kristen Downey says, yes, Dylan. Caesar says to Joy, go for it. Send me a raw file and a file with your processing applied. Oh, lots of comments today. Hang on, I'm getting through them. Tess says, I'm really hoping the Platinum family can help me develop some personality, as I've only done newsy podcasts and nonfiction. Yay, Platinum. You already have a personality. You're Tess. That's your personality. You don't need to develop another personality. Just be you. Caesar says, to echo Dylan's sentiment, it was actually you, Angela, who cemented my decision to make VO a full-time gig. Still working on it, but the decision was made while watching your YouTube videos. On a 72-inch screen, you're going to say, right? Make me all self-conscious. Well, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I see that comment, Donnie. Yeah, no. But I appreciate you guys. I'm just trying to pay it forward, and I'm glad to be but a small part of your journeys. Just hoping to help. Masonry Construction says to Jim, if you were writing articles for websites and Upwork, see if your client would like the audio version. It's a great way to repurpose your work and get paid for it. Seek, and ye will find. Love that. Jim says, just getting going in VO and writing for hire, staying very busy. Good. Peak Parable says, thank you for all your advice and help. I have been a long time and lurker, and it has helped a tremendous amount. First time coming out of the woodwork. Good. I encourage all of you who are lurking to get out of your lurkdom. What's a good word for that? Your lurkdom. Step out of the closet and get into the chat and say hi. It'll help you. It'll help build your confidence a little bit. And that's all that's all you really need, right? It's just a little confidence builder here and there. Celebrate the little successes. It all helps. Yeah. No. Jim says, Discord will definitely drag personality out of you. Lots of characters in there. Yeah. Joy says to Caesar, I will do. Thanks. Awesome. Well, I appreciate all of you sharing today. I think this was a good start for becoming an audiobook narrator. I'm sure there's some things that I forgot. If there's anything that you have a question about, if you're watching this on Team Replay, or if there's anything that you're in the comment section and we didn't cover anything specific, there is a lot to this. There's a lot to cover in just a single video chat. So if there's something specific that you want to learn more about or talk about, then please leave it in the comments below. Oh, hold on. I just saw a super chat. Dylan says, thank you, Dylan. Stop deflecting your praise. Introvert. I don't like it. Makes me uncomfortable. You've made a difference in my life with knowledge and a kick in the pants when necessary. Seriously, thank you. Okay. See, look at, I'm very uncomfortable. I don't like it. I'm just a person doing the thing. But I appreciate you. You guys are so sweet to me. Thank you. It hits me in the feels more than you know, but it makes me uncomfortable because I'm an introvert. But thank you. I appreciate you. Jim says it's therapy coming in here. Good. Thank you again for everybody who has participated and for those of you that sent super chats. I really appreciate that. But it's time for me to go. So I will be here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And again, if there's something specific that you want to learn more about or talk more about as a group, then please put it in the comments below. I really appreciate you guys being here. It means the world to me. But I'll see y'all then. Bye.